Hi, this is Angela McFarlane and you're stamping with AMAC. For our second card, we're going to create this quilted card. So basically we'll use a whole heap of little squares of designer series paper. We'll stick them all down and then we'll run them through the embossing folder. So all the bits and pieces that you will need are the card base, which is half of A4, and this one is very vanilla and it's a thick, very vanilla cardstock, and I've pre-scored that. You will need a textured embossing folder. Today we're using the Dazzling Diamonds embossing folder. A piece of cardstock which is Night of Navy, which is 10 centimeters by 14.3 for our mat. And then a very vanilla piece of 9.5 centimeters by 13.8. You will also need to cut 15 squares, which are 3 by 3 centimeters. And I've just used these patterns that you can see here. And then when it comes to arranging my design, I can just flip some of these over and use the other side of them as well. So that will work nicely. And same with those. And I'll use 4 of those. Okay, now to get started. We take the very vanilla cardstock and we fold it on the score line to create our card base. This thicker cardstock is really nice for creating a lovely thicker card. Then we are able to attach our base layer, which is our Night of Navy. And you can either use glue or snail or double-sided tape. So this is going to, just had a bit of a dodgy corner there. This is going to create our matte layer. And to attach this, leaving a nice border around the edges. And then we can set that aside. Then to attach all of our bits and pieces, I found the easiest way to do this is to actually score my piece of Very Vanilla, and I'll just score it in half. So I'll just move my cutting blade out of the road. So this is 4.75 centimeters across. So I go about there. I'll just lightly score that through there, and then I'll score it at 6.9 centimeters. This is just to mark the middle of the card, and all of these will get covered up when we stick all the bits and pieces on. Then to assemble our squares, I would recommend laying them out first and see what arrangement you would like. That one will go in the center. I'll just copy the other card that I did to make it easier, and then I want these in the corners. Go those there. So it's just easier when you go to attach everything to your card if you have it laid out beforehand. So there we go. Just swap that around. Okay, so then the best place to start is in the center of your card. So I will just add a little bit of my liquid glue, and I will position that. I will eyeball it and position it roughly in the middle of my card. So I'm pretty happy with that. You don't have to be super precise with these. And then when it comes to putting the second one on, I will line it up with the edge of the card just to make things a little bit easier. And then I just repeat the process until I have fairly even spacing. I'm pretty happy with my spacing there. And then I will just work down from there, and I always start in the center and then line it up with the edge to get my spacing. My Tombow is getting low, so I need to store it upside down. So you can do a completely random pattern with this fake quilting as well, but I've got a little bit of OCD about me, so I sort of like to have a symmetrical pattern, but it's entirely optional. And you might get a little bit of glue on your fingers after you do this. And we might just speed up the process until I've stuck them all on, and then I'll come back and share the next step with you. Okay, when we have all of those stuck down, then we can flip it over and we can see that we've got a little bit extra on the back there that we need to remove. So then we just get our trimmer and I'll pop my blade back in. Then we'll just line that up and cut off the excess. We'll do that on both sides. So when we've got that trimmed up, then we will place it in our textured embossing folder and line it up. And I'll just run it through my embossing machine. Okay, after you've run it through your embossing machine, we just open it up and you'll see all of the texture that has come through and created that lovely quilted effect. Now I will mention this Stampin' Up folder is a 3-dimensional folder, so it is a little bit thicker than normal, so you do only use one of your plates and a shim, or if you have the blue conversion plate for your die cutting machine, you would use one of these plates to run it through. Otherwise you can just add a little bit of extra cardstock and use one plate. So after that is done, then we can attach this to the front of our card, and you can either use glue, snail, or your double-sided tape. Usually when I've used embossing folders, I tend to use double-sided tape. So I'm going to attach this to the front of my card with that nice navy border around it. So then we will stamp the greeting and also stamp the little peony that will attach there. We'll also stamp a peony inside and just one on the envelope as well, just to add a little bit of extra to it. So for the greeting, I've chosen "Your sweet friendship refreshes the soul," and I will line that up, stamp it in the middle of my pre-cut label, and then on the little scrap piece of Very Vanilla, I'll stamp the peony. And while I've got that out, I will also stamp my envelope just in the corner, pop that aside, and then we will stamp the inside of the card as well. And for this one, I just mix it up a little bit and go the larger image. I just stamp the partial image. I think it always looks nicer than a full one when it's a little bit of an embellishment inside the card. So now we have that. Then we can attach the greeting. And I will attach that in the middle of my card. If you like, you can also change the orientation of your card, and you can go landscape instead of portrait. And then I'll cut out this peony using the dies. Okay, I've cut out the little peony, and I will just add a dimensional to the back and attach it to, I'm not happy with that, I'll go a little bit further across. There we go, attach it there, and then I will attach some of my embellishments. So these embellishments are a part of the peony suite as well. Oh, that was go a smaller one here. There we go. Okay, so there we have the quilted card. Thanks for watching. Happy stamping. I'll see you at the next project.